Holy Toledo and smoky Tulsa. Today we're talking about the Republican debates. Donald Trump skipped them in favor of appearing on Tucker Carlson's show, which of course is the second most watched program on X.com, behind only episodes of Becker someone illegally uploaded. Also, we're talking about the Maui wildfires. Who did they affect? And more importantly, who was responsible? Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, God themselves, all powerful black women. Plus, probably more race science. We'll see when the show starts, right? Instantly. Hello, and welcome to the Von Jono predicament. I will not wear a fucking dirty mask. They say lockdowns are coming back. Maybe my boot in your ass is coming back if you try to make me put on another dirty, filthy, disgusting, moist mask. Also, I am not cleaning my mask. I ran out of Tide Pods. I was not eating them. I ate a few of them. I was mostly throwing them at birds. I'm also not going to wipe my butt. This is a show for moderate centrists to get the actual news, outside of the, quite frankly, and get the kids out of the room for this one, crap garbage that the mainstream media keeps shoving down your throat, which I think should be illegal. All they do is lie. They lied about COVID-19. Turns out it was actually COVID-18. They lied about the Covington kids. Turns out they weren't kids at all. They were actually Estonian dwarfs. They lied about Jussie Smollett. Turns out he's straight. Smashes pussy, that guy. And of course, they lied about Donald J, stands for Jesus, you tell me, Trump. They claim he's the one who was behind the 2020 lockdowns when every resident of every blue state, especially Connecticut for some reason, was welded inside their house, forced to open their butthole, and then video recorded singing the Chinese national anthem. And sure, maybe technically Donald Trump was the president at the time, but you know who was the former vice president? Joe Biden. And who really holds the power? That's right, the Pope. Okay, producer Nancy Mom has informed me that I need to introduce the show and not just kind of go into a fugue state and start rambling on about papal conspiracy theories. So I'll just leave it at this. Are we 100% sure that the McDonald's mascot Grimace is not actually an archbishop?
Just asking questions.
I am well known on the internet, popular even, for being a moderate centrist, bit of a milquetoast fence sitter. I am right down the middle politically, okay? There are some Republican policies I agree with, like how they're against molesting kids, and there are some Democratic policies I could name right now, but I won't because who cares? I support the Green New Deal, and by that I mean sending the sweet Achiba to everybody in America. The other Green New Deal, the one being pushed by noted big booty Latina, Alexandria Ocasio Pita Santa Maria Cortez. I'm not racist, you are. That one, a bit more mixed on, okay? Some parts I like. Windmills, for 'em. But the part where she scrawled in her own blood, we must exterminate the white race, not as cool on that one. Universal health care. I like the idea of providing a basic standard of care to all Americans. But do we really need to give healthcare to the entire universe? I bet there's some weird aliens that have like bizarrely shaped glands and like maybe their dicks are inside their butt, and it would cost way too much to give them bottom surgery. Also, universal healthcare is white genocide too. Climate change, that's a hot button issue. And I mean that literally. All of my buttons are scalding hot.
Raising my taxes will not cool down any buttons.
As my loyal viewers know, I love you all. I might need to borrow some money soon and or have you take a bullet for me. Just pretend you're me. Go to the DMV, get a license. Stop asking so many questions. As you guys know, I live in Columbuston, Ohio. Not to be confused with beautiful Columbuston, Ohio, which is a few miles to the east of us and is largely considered a bastion of liberal progressiveness due to them only outlawing gay marriage, as opposed to here in regular Columbuston, where we have mandated heterosexual marriage, but only based on attractiveness. Do you have abs and a more or less symmetrical face? Then you're getting married to another cutie pie. Are you fat and ugly? Then you're getting married to another Uggo, or possibly a farm animal. Either way, everyone is getting Christian married today. Anyway, Columbuston, Ohio is in a bit of a heat wave right now. which is rough because we always run a little hot, mostly due to the gasoline fire burning underneath the city streets at all times. A gasoline fire we have never tried to put out, unlike those cowards in Centralia, Pennsylvania. So yeah, temperatures are reaching the triple digits, 107, 108, roughly the same age Kirk Douglas died at. Is that a coincidence or a prophecy? You be the judge. But here in Columbuston, we tackle our problems. We don't just cry, global warming, and then throw Tide Pods at oil executives. We don't do that, all right? We fix our situations. We're drinking a lot of fluids, all right? We're waving a hand fan like a Southern dandy, I do declare. We're also getting naked and climbing inside the frozen pizza section at Kroger. We got this under control. Of course, we're not having it nearly as bad as Maui, Hawaii. That's right, they took the first season of The White Lotus and turned it into a real thing. What will science discover next? Maui was recently burned to the very ground God hath cursed by raging wildfires. Fires gone wild, one might even say, except that instead of, maybe girls touching their boobs together in 2004 and being like, can we get a t-shirt? And then guys are like, this is literally the hottest thing I've ever seen. No, this gone wild is killing hundreds. Now, some people on the radical communist kid butthole kissing radical left will say that these extreme weather events are caused by excess carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere, thereby trapping the sun's rays and increasing the heat. But what they have forgotten about is, of course, the Chinese.
They're very sneaky.
The Chinese, you know them, you love them. There's a billion of them out there. Their kids make our iPhones. Their food is full of whatever gives your heart colon cancer. And before 5 years ago, you were legally allowed to make fun of their voices, which are objectively funny. Well, what do the Chinese have to do with these very dangerous and presumably genderqueer fires burning through Maui? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. Lights. Several lights were spotted above Maui back in February. Lights that looked incredibly Chinese. How did they look Chinese? I'd love to tell you, but then I'd get kicked off of YouTube. They were slanted, okay? You happy? I said it. These lights have been reported to have been Chinese pollution monitoring balloons. But we all know pollution is a hoax. So what were these balloons actually doing? How hard is it to start a fire? Generally speaking, very easy, especially if you have a lighter. You can also do it with matches. It's harder, but it smells better. You can even do it with a cigarette. Like, random example, you happen to be on a family vacation to Hawaii, you're just blasting a pack of Cools because you're stressed out because maybe your producer mom and your step executive producer dad are playing some silly games, and so you're out there just blasting them, and you throw the butts into a big trash can, and then next thing you know, you're surrounded by Chinese flames. That ever happened to you? Listen, I'm extremely anti-war. Everyone who has ever watched a war movie, even one of those pussy war movies where they're like, we shouldn't have done that. They're to the right of me on foreign policy. But even I can see that we need to go to war with China immediately to stop them from starting more fires and also get their 7-year-olds to maybe make an iPhone that doesn't have a cracked screen in the first 3 months. Speaking of children, Vivek Ramaswamy, how old is he? Is he that kid who made a clock and brought it to school and everyone thought it was a bomb and the FBI got involved and he was later invited to the White House by Barack Obama to hang out with and presumably get molested by John Legend? Science refuses to answer that question.
Respond to my emails, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
But we do know that Vivek, rhymes with cake, is one of the many fresh faces to appear in Milwaukee earlier this week for the first ever Republican primary debates. The question on everyone's mind is, of course, why did they do it in Milwaukee? I get it, very white, but also it's a dairy state and Republicans are notoriously intolerant to lactose. Vivek was at the debate, also rhymes with cake, exciting stuff, to present his vision of a future where here in America, we do not acknowledge how hot it is, and also if someone's trans, we just give them $20 worth of Bitcoin and a doctor's phone number and they figure it out. But he wasn't the only candidate on stage. In fact, taking up about 36% of all the candidates by weight was Governor Chris Christie, formerly in charge of New Jersey and now currently the mayor of Roy Rogers off the Jersey Turnpike. Christie is known as a bit of a firebrand in the GOP, willing to insult Donald Trump and also call Vivek racial slurs. Oh, look over here, I'm being lectured by a fucking sand who talks like a god. howdy, gabago. Mike Pence was there. You might remember him as the guy who was solely and completely responsible for your favorite person ever not being president anymore. And so maybe it wasn't such a big deal that you brought your pet guillotine to your tourist trip to Washington, D.C., and maybe your grandkids should chill out and talk to you again.
There is no proof that any of my viewers were at January 6th or have ever left the house.
Mike Pence is taking a bold strategy of trying to get elected by a number of people who literally tried to kill him. It's very similar to 2008 when John McCain did a number of speaking engagements at Vietnamese restaurants. Tim Scott was there. So that's what Tim Scott looks like. Well, congrats on grabbing a black, Republicans. As a moderate centrist, I don't see race. I am anti-identitarian and also extremely anti-perspicacious, authoritarian, anti-established. Okay, I see a little bit of race. Like, I can tell Tim Scott is black, but just how black is he?
Well, our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that has made this the greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or imagine. Our responsibility should be to model the behavior we want others to follow. On education, the only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions.
Okay, so the answer is church and not very. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much of a shot Tim Scott has in this race, given how many Republican voters immediately started firing their guns at the TV the moment he appeared, and then right afterwards called up Comcast and asked why they added BET without their permission. Also being added without permission was Governor Doug Burgum, who apparently is in charge of North Dakota, a state I am mostly sure exists. He looks like he directed porn back in the 80s and now sells slightly used furniture. But he was up there with the big dogs saying a number of things, like he had the position. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't watch the debates. Co-executive producer Zach Jr., not stepbrother, was hogging the television set watching a copy of Kickboxer he had taped off of Cinemax during the Bush administration. Bush Jr., Bush Sr., I don't know. I try to ask, and all he does is call me the exact same racial slurs Chris Christie uses against Vivek Ramaswamy, so I just kind of leave the room. Someone who didn't leave the room was, of course, Ronald McDonald DeSantis, governor of Florida and former frontrunner before he made the terrible mistake of being seen and heard by potential voters. I'm sure DeSantis said some stuff too. He was probably like, stop showing kids pornography and instead show them the Bible. And is it so bad to put gay people into camps? We did it with the Jews and now they run Hollywood. Leave me alone. So yeah, Ron DeSantis' poll numbers are currently, let me check, just hieroglyphics glowing red and weeping blood. He's not doing great, but to be fair, none of them are. Many are saying this was really just a debate for vice president, which shouldn't be a job. If the president dies, we hand the reins over to whoever won the last season of American Idol.
Also, chief of staff is whoever wins American Ninja Warrior.
The race only has one real competitor, who is, of course, Donald Trump. He was recently arrested in Georgia for not paying his parking tickets and then swinging at a cop after saying, "Oink, oink, motherfucker." Here's his mugshot. Powerful alpha energy, while at the same time looking like a 7-year-old who was just told he can't play Roblox because he didn't finish his broccoli. That's the Trump magic, and again, I do not support him. I am not MAGA, and I absolutely did not say he won the 2020 election. What I said very clearly was he possibly didn't, maybe couldn't have, if the situation was right, could have maybe not have won the election. If we check for votes in Nevada, go look for votes. It's mostly desert. I bet there's some votes hidden somewhere. At the arrest, they also recorded his height at 6'3", which is correct, and his weight at 215 pounds, of which 15 pounds is just the head of his penis. Donald Trump did not appear at the Republican debate, mostly out of fear of being challenged by Chris Christie to a hot wing eating contest, which Trump would have won, but it would have ruined his diet. Instead, Trump sat down for a Barbara Walters-esque interview with Tucker Carlson on the popular website X.com, not xvideos.com, which is another website. You should also bookmark that one, but for non-Donald Trump reasons. The video has already received 700 million views due to every man, woman, and child in America watching it twice. Except for me. I didn't watch that one either. I'm boycotting X.com until my good friend Elon Musk, who I have not read, stops shadow banning me and starts boosting me until I start getting the 13, 14 likes each of my tweets deserve. Listen, Wednesday night was a victory for the Republican Party, which I am not a part of. I do not support the Republicans, even though they objectively are our best hope of avoiding having Antifa come around with dart guns and shooting us all up full of estrogen. Or, raising taxes. Only in the Republican Party could you see such a wide swath of powerful and independent ideas. You have Mike Pence, who of course would like to avoid talking to women without his wife in the room. You have Vivek Ramaswamy, who wants to give every 13-year-old a racist robot wife. You have Chris Christie, who would like seconds. You have Ron DeSantis, who would very much like to be president so his wife would stop yelling at him about it. And you have Asa Hutchinson, who was there by accident. He got lost trying to catch a 9:30 showing of Sound of Freedom. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We've got an exciting primary season in front of it. Politics, guys. Politics are happening right in front of our faces. Like and subscribe. Hit the buttons down there. What have I got? I don't know, some dumb shit. I'm on X.com. Follow me on there. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on Patreon. Guys, for $5 a month. That's barely anything. Count it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just got owned. For $5 a month, you get access to exclusive bonus content, a weekly new video, raw upload feeds. You get to vote in polls. I talk to you. I acknowledge your existence. For $5 a month, Steve Vongino will say he loves you and give you a big old wet smooch. And you also get, of course, an executive producer credit. Look at all these executive producers. Cool people. Powerful people. They all could have been at the Republican primary. That's a thing. The Republican debates and in the Republican primary. If you donate $5 to my Patreon, you are automatically entered into the Republican primary for President of the United States. So, could win. It's really anyone's game at this point, as long as you're Donald Trump. I gotta adjust myself. Okay, excuse me. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back next week with another hot video. And until next time.
Wait, does Donald Trump wear a diaper?
Shut up and sit down.